Hey guys, Camfrey15 back at it with another video for you guys. Back with another Shinjui Family Children episode review for you guys. I'm always gonna butcher that. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but whatever. Um so what after the rails of last week's episode, this episode, it really honest to be honest, it doesn't really progress anything in terms of like any of the relationships of the girls. Um, and this episode is kind of focused around Minami, and it seems like we might be getting this little mini arc. That I wonder if it's gonna, I wonder if it's gonna pay off. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, basically off the rails of the last episode, right? Um, and the shock factor of like, okay, we know at some point down the road, Arata is gonna marry one of the sisters. One of the sisters is gonna is gonna be married to Arata. They're gonna have a child, that's named after their adoptive mother, and stuff like that. So where does that lie? Anyways, we have the focus on Minami this episode. Now she's playing tennis and she's training for her finals, or well, for the tennis finals, right? And now the thing is, she just can't get off her mind about Kotono basically coming out and admitting her feelings and saying that she wants to marry Arata, and it doesn't matter what the heck's gonna happen, she's gonna marry him no matter what. And that's kind of the thing that's been on our mind. Also, another thing that's kind of, which is kind of a lingering thing throughout the course of the episode, is she has an ankle injury. And I'm just like, oh, this trope, huh? She's going to basically try to gut her way to win it all, but at the end of the day, she's gonna end up getting she's gonna end up getting injured, right? And it's gonna probably make her lose. But we kind of get some more understanding of why she did tennis. Apparently people didn't like her, I guess, at her old school or something like that, and they thought she was a problem child and everything, and she lost that love for tennis. But the main reason of this episode and why she's pushing hard to get to the finals and win it all is for her upperclassman. So her upperclassman is basically the captain of the team and everything, and she's one of the better tennis players on the team. And they kind of have a nice little fun, relationship. And we see in the flashback with Minami that she was the reason that enabled Minami to have that love for tennis again. And they'll always like to play this one game, right? And it seems like the upperclassman always loses. But I did like the relationship between the two, because it's kind of the whole thing of like, hey, Minami looks up to basically this upperclassman who's helped her, a good friend of hers, right? Somebody she looks up to and respects. And in the episode, you have it to where it's like, well, hey, we can't be doing this game all the time, because you know what? I'm gonna be graduating next year, and it's basically on your onus to lead this, tennis team going forward. Because I'm guessing from the way she was talking, it sounds like the other tennis players, they're okay, but they're not the best. Like it's clear that her and Minami are clearly the two best ones, but it seems like the upperclassmen, and sorry that I forgot her name, but it seems like the upperclassman sees that even Minami has more potentials than she does, right? So the thing is, Minami's kind of whole thing is, I want to get, my upperclassman, my senpai, to the finals and let her go out, because she talks about how she wants to go to Wimbledon and everything, and the fact, like, she tells Minami like, hey, you're gonna be, carrying my bag, so I'm at the Wimbledon. So Wimbledon in this universe is canon, as well as Roger Federer, because the girl does make a mention about Roger Federer, right? But it's clear like she has a big passion for tennis. She wants to be a professional tennis player and everything. But you get this one instant where Minami overhears these underclassmen say like how she doesn't have are these other classmen, right? The other teammates, talks about how basically she has no like scholarship or no like scholarship that catered to a college to go basically continue to play tennis. And basically those other teammates said, yeah, like I heard rumor, like, you know, if she doesn't get like a freaking scholarship to pay to go to college, well, she promised her parents she'd just go straight into the workforce. And Minami overhears this, and she's very like, no, I gotta get my I gotta get my senpai to I gotta get my senpai to the finals. So then one, maybe a college can look at her and finally, you know, give her an opportunity and give her maybe a scholarship. And then two, also to go out, because, you know, say she doesn't get that scholarship. Minami wants her senpai, her upperclassman, her friend essentially, before she graduates, and everything, to have one more happy moment on the tennis team, because for all intents and purposes, that could be the last time she ever plays tennis, right? And it's completely understandable. It's an actual real life thing, you know, everybody goes through it. You know, you play high school sports and those 4 years go by freaking fast, and next thing you know, you're more than likely either going to college or you're going straight to the workforce, right? Or kind of in a college sense, you know, if you're not good enough to go pro, um, you typically, that's basically it. You just go to the workforce. You're just a regular dude, and maybe you're, you know, you look to get into that field as a job, but sometimes people don't get in that field because they're just not obviously that talented enough, like many other people, or the very few people in the world that are playing in these professional sports leagues and everything. But if you want to translate it to frickin' the high school thing, it's like, you know, yeah, and especially if she wants to go to like some of the best schools to play tennis and everything, she's gonna need that scholarship because the schools are gonna see potential in her. And also too, it's like you gotta pay for school, and I bet you, like, she would have to go overseas and everything, and her parents are just like, well, okay, we can try, but if you don't get no scholarship, well, then there's no point. And for me, looking at this, she has the determination, I have to get her to the finals, right? Now we know that she's injured, and then also at the same time she's been distracted with the whole Kotono stuff. Now Arata comes back in walking, and he basically overhears one of the maid call him over, and he basically throughout the episode helps out Minami basically train and get better, at the same time rest her ankle, because he basically like, so the problem is your ankle hurt, you injured your ankle, and she's like, oh yeah. So they kind of just work out together and train together. He's helping her and everything. So yeah, you do get this, obviously, this, I want to call it a fan service scene, because Bonri at the end of the episode gets more of a fan service scene where she's basically in her underwears and just a tank top, but you can see her literal, you literally see her bra straps, right? Now that was probably my favorite scene of the episode, frankly. I'm just like, yes, more Bon. Listen, whenever they put Bonri on the screen, they know what they're doing when they put Bonri on the screen. It's clear. The other girls will probably have several fan service moments, but Bonri, since she's the oldest sister, right, and she's probably the most legal out of all the sisters, right, they're gonna more than likely, the show's gonna give her more than likely the most fan service. Again, I don't know if that's a hint to her winning. Honestly, I would be overjoyed if she were to win, right? But I don't think she's gonna win. We'll see. We'll see, right? But you do get I guess, a moment where Arta kind of overthinks. He's looking at Minami's body, and she's like, he's talking about how sleek and slender she is, and you know how kind of attractive she is. I'm just like, my guy, you're legitimately like, you're legitimately looking at your sister like that in that way. Again, I don't blame him. So hold on, guys. But yeah, you get the, and also too, he kind of gets flustered because she's kind of like stretching his back out, and obviously her chest is on him, and he's like, does she not notice that? Now it's, well, in some cases, Minami is kind of oblivious, but she also has picked up on the whole thing, right? But regardless, I think she didn't pick up on this, so she was being oblivious or dense to this, while freaking Arata's just like, bro, what the hell? I can't take it, right? He had to end up leaving, but we do also have a moment where we get the outcome of the situation when when Kotono told all the other sisters, like, you're my rivals, I don't care, I'm gonna marry Arata. And at first they tried to do the whole thing of playing it off again. It was like, oh, she must just be kidding, right? It must have been the movie we watched, that's why she said that. But then Seiya's just like, come on guys, let's just stop this stuff. It's clear that she is stuck in her ways and she doesn't care, anymore. And we can't keep saying that, oh, this is just her childlike thing. Like, we actually just have to believe, like, no, she's madly in love with our brother and she actually wants to marry him. And I'm guessing at that point, that's when they all come to the recollection where they're just like, yeah, I guess we have to, don't we? So there's that, right? And then two, what's his face? And then two, we do have a little bit of a focus on Oka about that. Little bit, right? Tiny bit. Seems like she also remembers that, and she also is kind of bothered by that, because clearly Oka is also in love with Arata, like, plain and simple, right? So that's where that whole thing's at. But basically, the thing is, eventually later down the episode, Minami does tell Arata, like, hey, I told my coach about my ankle injury and everything, so yeah. But the episode ends off on a cliffhanger where apparently they don't know where Minami is at, and apparently she ran away. I don't know where she's at. We'll see. It'd be completely hilarious if she just went out for a run and she just came back and they're just like, I just came out for a run. But she's basically gone missing. So that's where that basically is at. So yeah. But overall, solid episode. Solid episode. I do have to wonder, like, are we gonna get that scene where it's like she's participating in the finals? Because we find out they do get to the finals, right? They're in the tennis finals, and I'm like, typically with this trope, especially with like an injury trope in these sports enemies, and they're in the finals, typically the injury flares up and it basically prevents them from winning the match. I don't know what's gonna happen. It would be kind of a twist if they actually have them win, and Minami perseveres over the injury and everything. But maybe they could have maybe an angle of where, like, okay, because she overworked herself too bad, the injury of her ankle got worse, and because of it, she has to stop playing tennis. And she can't do tennis anymore because she messed her ankle up pretty badly, right? But we'll see where it goes on from next. But it was a fine episode. I'm liking the story there, and I actually do hope that, they win the finals, because I do want to see Minami just say, like, to basically Upperclassman, like, I did this for you because I really look up to you and everything. So, that would be a nice moment, but we'll see. Again, like I said, nothing on the relationship side of things kind of like progressed outside of, Minami and Arata's relationship growing, but that's basically it. But anyways, I'll get out here, guys. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts. Hit the subscribe button if you want to get more Shiunji Family Children episode reviews or any other anime episode reviews that I upload to the channel. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day or your night or watching this video. Till then, guys, peace.